American Patriot 1965 here. I'm going to show you a little something that confuses a lot of people about fuel lines on chainsaws. I'm going to show you the brand right there. Show you the carburetor setup right there. And I'm going to show you a diagram right there that shows you what this is, how this works. You have fuel lines that go into a primer bulb, that come out of the tank, go back into the tank, go in the carburetor. It's confusing, right? Okay. Well, if you'll notice, small line, bigger line. That's important on these Poulans, Craftsman, Husqvarna. All these usually pretty much have the same setup, these smaller, cheaper saws. So to make it simple, I'm going to show you on the carburetor here. That's the top of the carburetor. That outlet right there is where that hose is. That outlet is right there. This is the same type of carburetor I have in the drawing. And if you'll notice, the smaller line comes from the tank with the filter to the top of the carburetor where that screw is. And then this tube comes out of this carburetor, goes into the primer bulb, and back into the fuel tank. The shorter nozzle on the primer button will be your drawing. That's your suction. It sucks the fuel through the carburetor coming from the top because there's a filter just underneath this cap here. When you look right here underneath that, take that screw off, there's a fuel filter in there. So that means the fuel comes in here, has to go through the carburetor and come out here. That's what I've got in the diagram. Carburetor, the fuel comes out of the tank to the top, through the carb, through the primer, and blows it back into the fuel tank. So small line, bigger line, and that's the way these are set up. And that should be a pretty good reference to show anybody how to replace the fuel lines, at least hook them back up right if one of them comes unhooked. So, and if you'll notice, the bigger line is in the right corner, smaller line is in the left corner. That small line goes over and sits in the bottom of the tank with the fuel filter on it. And so that's it. That's your quick reference on how to hook one of those back up and get the fuel lines hooked up correctly, because people bring them in all the time. I've done everything to it, I can't get it running. And I say, well, you just got your fuel lines hooked up wrong. So, and that a lot of times is what it is. Hey, thanks for checking in with me on American Patriot. I'm working on chainsaws and other small objects with carburetors on them. And we'll see you soon.